Hello, thank you for joining us on Dreamers and Doers this evening. My name is Julie Russell, and this is my host, Lisa Saunders.
Hello.
Each week we interview individuals who have found meaning and purpose through everyday events and extraordinary feats. Today we have Kristin Hartnett, which is really a privilege for us because you are among the individuals that keep Southeast Connecticut laughing. You have Laughworks, a company and a school on improv laughter. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Laughworks, a school of improv, right now is myself teaching 2 adult classes, and also I'll be teaching at the Norwich Kelly Middle School, an after-school program for children 11 to 13.
Oh, that's new,
doing
right?
improvisation. That's new. It's just starting this week.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And improvisation is basically learning to think on your feet. It's a form of theater that generates the present moment, and the first thought that comes to your head utilizes that in a number of theater games and exercises.
Yeah, you had us do that. You gave us a trial run one time where we had to answer questions just quickly off the top of our head, and I have seen you perform.
So, Lisa, you have seen Kristin prior to today. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was really funny. It was when you had your rehearsals and practices downtown Mystic at that time. And it was just a free night. She said, come on out, see my class. And it was funny. I just sat there. I didn't know what I was going to expect. And these were performances these people didn't know they were going to put on, right? Don't you just randomly give them a situation and I can't remember what you did exactly, but I mean, you really had me laughing, and then you were taking people from the audience. I was not a willing volunteer. So I did not volunteer, but other people did, and you were put on little skits based on their life that were hysterical.
Yeah, what you're thinking about is a game called Day in the Life, and you'll choose somebody from the audience, get their basic daily routine, and then the players will take that information and kind of blow it up. It's the whole thing about improvisation, and why it ends up being funny is because we go to the absurd.
So you take what you have and exaggerate it.
Take what you have, exaggerate it, but one of the key elements to improvisation, which ties into why this particular program helps change people's lives and why it's something that means a lot to me, is because the tenet of acceptance. So when we're rehearsing, quote unquote, you might say, well, why would you rehearse something that's supposed to be spontaneous? And what you do is you train people to accept whatever comes to you, whatever ridiculous suggestion that you get, or whatever suggestion that anybody gives to you, or what your partner on stage gives to you, you accept it. You don't conflict with them. You accept it and you build from there. So if somebody just decides that you are the Mouse King, you have to accept, yes, I am the Mouse King, and move on from there.
So it seems like it promotes mindfulness, self-awareness, as well as the ability to be non-judgmental.
Exactly. The non-judgmental thing is very important, and in the description for the courses I say learn how to play well with others, and part of that is non-judgment of your fellow players who are struggling just as much as you are, and also non-judgment of yourself, to self-correct yourself, but also understand that there are no mistakes in improvisation, that if anybody does something or says something that doesn't apply to the quote-unquote rules of the game, we accept it and we build on it.
Okay.
Like I remember seeing an episode in The Office where Michael Scott, do you ever watch it to know what I'm talking about? Yeah, and he's in an improv class. And it just looked like a relaxing thing that he would do on a weeknight, is just go, because it doesn't sound like it's a big commitment of time. Are you talking like an hour a week, 2 hours a week, your classes?
It's 2 hours a week.
How many sessions?
For 8 classes is 1 session. And I have students that have been with me for over a year now. And I have some brand new students as well. I teach 2-hour classes. So there's kind of a beginning, middle class, and then there's the advanced class, which I now call Improv with the Stars.
Now, what do you, like you told me if I was going to take it that I had to sign a paper saying that I would try not to be the center of attention.
And,
No.
and that's only because with the playing well with others.
Okay, so you have to let everybody have a chance. Like in the Office segment, Michael kept wanting to kill everybody and shoot everybody so that he could always be the one living at the end in each skit. And so the teacher had to get him to get off that, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
It's really about, like I said, acceptance of what other people have to bring. And also, once you get into certain games and into the performance, you start to realize what your own needs are when it comes to being in a group of people. Do you need that attention? You know, do you need to be the one who's always right? Do you need to be the one who is laying down the rules? I mean, all these things come up when you're in a group of adults and we start to play a game. And how serious do you have to be during a game? You know, some people are very serious about following the rules, and I constantly say, it's improv, so you're going to adapt, you're going to accept. You know, you're not going to try to keep people to the rules.
I don't think you would call this more like adult playing more than acting. I mean, is this acting students you have, or just people who just want to have fun and play games and do like the ridiculous? Like, what's the kind of person?
It's all of the above. It's people that have done theater before, who are very rigid actors and want to learn a more freer form, want to inhabit their roles on stage more authentically. It's also engineers who have a hard time dealing with groups of people socially that want to learn how to get along. And then people that just want to have fun, that just seems like it sounds like something fun to do. I want to get out of the house more. And it ends up just completely changing their outlook on a lot of things. And you're saying, you know, it's a couple hours a week, but we come early, we chit and we chat, and then we stay later afterwards. I mean, we have a lot of fun.
Does anybody bring snacks?
You are welcome to bring a snack
Like
when you join the class. Yes.
Like I liked when we went to your show that we could all bring whatever it was we felt like bringing or eating or drinking.
Yeah.
And I just got such a kick because I felt like I was watching the next Lucille Ball. Like this one girl that was just willing to be a dog on the floor, lift her leg on a bush. I mean, just was crazy. And I thought, this is unbelievable that somebody's just willing to do that. And that's what made it so funny. And I just wonder, is she an actress? Or is she just somebody who's just really good at just being out there?
She's both. She's acted before, and that's what she said. She joined the class to get back into it because the magic of theater is exactly that. Like, you're allowed to be absurd because it's kind of removed from, you're not ordering a coffee at a coffee shop. You know, you're not doing something that requires a certain set of rules in society to act a certain way. You're on stage, you can do whatever you want, be whoever you want. So a lot of people enjoy that freedom.
Thank you. Well, in today's episode, I would like to talk a little bit about what brought you to open the Laughworks, and also you said you would bring an exercise so we could see the games that Lisa is talking about and provide really a context so our audience can understand that.
I'm not willing to do anything too embarrassing.
Well, I think it's about acceptance, Lisa. That's what I heard Kristin say.
Let's first talk about how she got into it, and then if we have time, how about that?
All right, I'll keep it short.
Well, because I was interested in the doing business as.
Yeah, I originally...
Like how you start up a business, what you dreamed of doing this. I don't know. You were one of the few that truly answered Jules' questions that she put to people.
Well, because it's so new, for one thing. It's been a little over a year since the program started, and maybe 4 or 5 months before that. I really wasn't happy where I was working before. And I had come to Connecticut kind of driftwood, you know, not having a real handle on where it was I was going. So at that point, I finally said, what do I want for myself? What do I want that I can create that's completely mine? And how can I utilize my skills to change the world? It's a big phrase, but it really is like, how can I do my part? I don't want to do this. I don't want to, you know, work at a soup kitchen, whatever it is. I know that I can use my skills in order to bring out the best in humanity. How can I do that?
How can you make a little slice of the world a little bit better?
Yeah, starting with inside of me and then just radiating out. Absolutely. So I did a series of like psychological things, you know, introspection and journaling, and took some quizzes and magazines. I mean, like, I really started asking the universe, please let me know, show me signs of what it is that I'm going to do. And I had already performed improvisation, and I had taught at Florida Studio Theater in Sarasota, where I had lived for a long time. It was definitely a place I still consider home. But that experience was definitely heightened awareness of who I could be and what I had to offer and my talents. So that was a strange answer for me. Like, that was the answer that bubbled up. Being an MC for an improv show.
And so then you had this revelation, MC, a facilitator for an improv school.
So I started looking around, and there was nothing in southeastern Connecticut. I thought I would join a school, I would help with emceeing. Newport, yes. New Haven, yes. Hartford, yes. Nothing in between, you know? So I just kind of said, I guess I'm going to have to start my own. And I was so afraid that it was going to cost too much money. I really had obviously been shown that this is what I was meant to do, and I felt good every time I thought about it. So I knew that that wasn't the fearful part, but the money really intimidated me. And it took me a couple weeks before I actually went to Stonington Town Hall to ask about how much it cost to register a business. And I had like saved up $150 and not paid the electric bill or something, you know? And she said, oh, it'll be $5. Like, wow. $5, what a miracle.
Now, why do you need to register a business if you're the sole proprietor?
Well, I wanted to get a bank account. And in order to get a bank account as a business, then you need to register the business.
And what's an advantage of having a bank account as a business?
Well, they could fill out the, first of all, then it would just be money from my business to my business, that I could keep track of it, that it wouldn't leak out into,
okay,
you know.
So it's just easier accounting-wise for your taxes?
Well, accounting-wise and eventually for my taxes.
Did you end up filing for a tax ID?
I did not, because I still am just a DBA. I still don't have enough.
Doing business as what?
Laughworks.
As Laughworks.
They use my social security number.
Right, okay.
Instead. Yeah, and that
Which
works.
is really just another tax ID.
It is just another tax ID. So it turned out not to be intimidating, and I got the bank account, and then when people write checks, then they could write it to an actual place. Plus, when I started this, I didn't just say, well, I have a small idea, let's take the first step. I actually said, I have this idea, I'm going to write a business plan. I wrote a business plan for what happens if this step is successful and this step is successful, to the point where I have a whole graph of who would be working for me if I had an actual school with a building and, you know, children's classes and just things going on constantly.
Did you do that just for yourself to keep you on task, or did you have to do it for somebody else for some other reason?
I did it for myself, so that I knew what the vision was, so that I could always go back to that. I also chose a mission statement so that I could always go back to that.
What is your mission statement?
That's funny that you asked me that, right?
Do you know what it is?
It is. It is. What does Laughworks do? Heal the community one laugh at a time. So I come back to that whenever I'm worried. Oh, nobody's going to show up for this beginner's class. I didn't spend enough money on advertising. It's not as important that I make the money as it is that I reach people, that I offer them what I have to give, which is experience in healing, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. I have that gift to give because I've been through things and I've come through them, and this form, improv, with my skills, helps me to bring that across. And hopefully I could reach one person and they feel a little bit braver, or they feel a little bit more accepted, you know, with their peers. Or they laugh a lot more than they did before. And to me, that's like, I've done my job then. That's the basic nut of it. No matter what happens, that's the most important part.
That's terrific. I find at times a lot of people seem to have forgotten how to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that's so serious, and we are all in a rush to get something done, that many times people forget to kind of schedule fun.
Yeah, playing is definitely really
Isn't there a
helpful.
scripture, laughter is good medicine? I don't know if it's a scripture or a saying, but because I do think it is medicine. And I liked your comment when you answered Julie's questions. I forget what the question was, but you answered, you try to be happy. You look for ways to be happy no matter what the circumstance. And that's just something I've always naturally tried to do because I don't want to be unhappy. Who wants to be unhappy? Bitterness is when something horrible happens to you, you can either drown in bitterness or you can find a way, oh, how can I be happy despite this? Or, and sometimes I think you can use your sadness to benefit others because, well, this is how I'm happy despite this sadness.
Every action is really motivated by an emotion. And so certainly people use sadness to motivate actions and behavior, but they also use joy and happiness. It's just simply that simple. We're going to take a public service announcement moment in just a second. And then, Kristin, I think it's time that we look at one of your games and how that works. So we can laugh.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut tree, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
Thank you for joining us. This program is called Dreamers and Doers, and we are talking with Kristin Hartnett, who's telling us how she turned her dream into a reality.
Yes.
We are resuming at the point where we are going to have an improv exercise that will hopefully make us laugh.
That was a lot of pressure.
Now, one of the exercises that we teach in improv is to let go of the outcome. Okay, so when you're in a situation, the best thing for you to do is to listen to your partner, listen to your fellow players, and let go of the outcome. And this helps you to get more into the present moment. It helps you more to offer what is top of mind, we call it. Now, this game is called One Word to Tell a Story. So what that means is the three of us are going to tell a story. It should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And we each only get one word, though. So I would start, for instance, and I would say once, and Jules would say upon a time.
Okay, so we go in a circle. It's not that we only get one word ever.
Ever, right. We go in a circle until we
Okay.
think the story is done.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And what we usually do is get a suggestion from the audience so they know for sure we're making it up.
But we are not in front of an audience today. So we would pick a subject that the audience might suggest.
Yes, perhaps a plant.
Okay.
Since there's
so-
a plant behind us, let's tell a story about a plant.
All right, so you first and then Jules, right?
Once
Upon
time,
unbelievably
Mr.
plant
jumped
over
the
rainbow
to
get
treasure
like
eggs
gold
dirt
and
frankincense
and
then
it
fertilized
the
rainbow
which
brought
color
to
the
world
because
Mr.
plant
loves
Color.
then
Mrs.
Plant
danced
under
the
rainbow
with
Mr.
plant
friend.
Apostrophe S. Good one. Then
Mr.
Plant
got
children
through
procreation.
children
don't
Like
dancing
with
rainbows.
friend
on
The
plantation
when
the
rainbow
is
gone
rain
upon
the
stars
Little Dipper. Sorry, little.
dipper
shines
Upon
everyone.
Mr.
Gargonzola.
Came
to
Take
away
children
from
Mr.
plant
when
That.
was
over.
So this is where we wrap it up.
Okay.
that
Is
The
and
okay. So I don't know what was happening, but
Now you can see that by accepting what each person had to say, regardless of whether or not it made sense. And I'm not sure, did either of you have a different idea of where the story should go?
I did not think Mr. Plant's friend should be dancing with Mrs. Plant
Well, I thought
under
that
the
would-
rainbow.
I know, but I thought that would make a good, story, and that we were going to go from there to see how Mr. Plant was going to handle his wife dancing with Mr. Gargonzola or whatever his friend's name was.
Right, so we did have kind of a thread,
So you were bringing in the cheesy element.
the Gorgonzola.
Yes. Absolutely.
So it doesn't always make sense, these
Right.
stories, but it does teach us, and it's one of the first games that I teach in the class, to accept what your partner
to
says.
loosen people up and get them started before they're willing to start physically running around doing stuff, which I would love to see at a restaurant. Do you have any restaurants that would be interested in just having you as a, I don't know, entertainment, like a free entertainment at first, since, I don't know. Is
Well,
that
one of the
something?
programs, one of the parts of my big business plan was the outreach program. Outreach program is to take what we've learned and take the troupe that performs and go into institutions, shelters, whoever would benefit, nursing homes, offering our services for free and performing. And in this way, staying with the mission, with
Right.
healing the community through the
I
laughter.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so far we've done that. The paying performances per se will come later. It's been a year, so for me, what I've noticed is that the opportunities come at just the right time. They seem to fall into place.
Now, Kristin, as the founder of Laughworks, you have shared that you have 8-week classes for beginners, as well as people that might be more comfortable and experienced in improv. You also have community outreach in schools. But for somebody that just wants to know a little bit more than they were able to get today in this episode, what would be an option as far as learning more about improv? I know you have a Facebook page.
I do have a Facebook page, and we have a video there of another TV show that we did in which we performed some of the games. So you'd be able to see how some of the players occupy, like you were saying, they actually do physical things. You know, they mime brushing their teeth. I mean, there are games that we play to keep the improv fresh, but there's also games that end up being like scenes. So you could go on the Facebook page and check that out.
And that's just put Laughworks.
Yeah, Facebook/Laughworks, and that should come up.
Okay, and then what about locally? Sometimes going onto Facebook might be more than some of our audience wants to do. What about getting up and going someplace and checking it out without really committing to 8 weeks of?
Oh, yes. Well, the classes that I teach, I try to keep open all the time. And on the Facebook page, it'll say which classes. It's either a Tuesday session or a Thursday class that would be always open for anybody to come and to either just watch or participate. I can tell you now that you wouldn't necessarily be able to just sit there. I would probably eventually get you into an unintimidating game. And I've found that people are not put off by this, that they, once they get through the door at all, they're there for a reason, and they learn something. So yes, certainly people can sit in on my class, and I also have performances from time to time.
Now you have a performance coming up where nobody has to be called if they don't want to be, right? Where your actual performance, they can sit there and relax and not be afraid if they just totally want to watch. Okay, when is your next performance?
May 7th is our performance in New London at the Provenance Center, which is on State Street. That's a beautiful gallery, and she's got a great mission going on too that also has to do with community, bringing the community together through art. So our missions really gelled when we met.
And what time is that?
That's going to be May 7th is a Tuesday, and that would be at 7 o'clock.
So on May 7th at 7 p.m. in New London, Laughworks will have a performance.
Yes, and you can come, you can bring your friends. You can, you know, just sit if you want. I do have a couple of games where I get volunteers from the audience. And the important part about improv is participatory in the way of suggestions. We have to prove to you that we're just making it up. So we need audience suggestions. So we'll always go to the audience, you know, for basic concepts. You know, give me a location, gas station, or whatever, like that. So that would be another way to find out what improv is all about.
Well, I think we have like a minute or two left. Is there anything you want to ask or anything you're dying to say that we didn't cover?
I just want to say that I'm so excited for myself that I figured out what I wanted to do, and that I just kept taking the steps. I just kept saying yes. I didn't throw excuses in front of the next step or the path that I saw was ahead of me. I just kept saying yes, even if I felt like it was so intimidating, you know? And then whenever I would get into the situation, because I feel like I'm living out my purpose, then it wouldn't be as intimidating, and any forces that I truly believe, you know, keep me grounded would come into play, and that would help me.
Kristin, it seems the positive attitude that you bring to Laughworks helps truly pave the way for success. That when you expect to succeed, you really find success at the end of that rainbow.
Yes, and what I'm loving is that the rainbow keeps growing. It keeps going and going and going, you know, that there's always a pot of gold at the end, and then there's more, and you just keep on going further than you ever could have possibly thought. And each little success I celebrate as if, well, if this is as far as I go, then this is fantastic. I've already nailed it.
So you found a way that your dream became a goal, and you did that through a plan. I don't know who it was that said a goal without a plan is only a dream, but it seems that you kind of searched out what would bring meaning and purpose to your life and took that dream, wrote it out as a business plan.
I like that idea. I really think that's important because there's so many people that can't find full-time work, and then maybe this is the opportunity to strike out on your own dream. And probably a business plan is a good way to start and really to focus what it is you want to accomplish, because there's so many ways you can go, but you really need to focus your energies. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you for being our guest today.
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
great
Kristin
having you.
Hartnett with Laughworks.
Yes.
Good evening.
Okay.
Oh, thanks. That was great.